Hey guys, welcome to the Miss Teen Caribbean UK podcast with me, your host, Sharika, founder of Miss Teen Caribbean UK. In this episode, I'll be discussing growing your confidence, a step by step approach, and just talking about what we can do to make us feel better and accept what is. In the last episodes, we had episode 1 spoke about on followers and unsubscribers and how you should feel about that. What does that mean for your brand? And should you take it personally? So go listen to that episode to see what I suggested. The episode after that, in episode 2, I spoke about staying focused on your vision. I gave you step-by-step tools that I use to stay focused on my vision. So we're going to dive straight into this episode. I hope you like it. And I want to thank you all to those who have been giving me amazing feedback, some not so amazing feedback, but I love you guys anyway. So thank you. Let's get straight into it. Welcome, guys. So before I go straight into it, I do want to just give a quick shout out to our partners at Red Lab London. Go check them out on Instagram and Twitter at Red Lab London. Now, confidence is such a personal topic. Confidence is personal because it means different things to different people, but ultimately it is just a feeling about how sure you are of yourself and your own abilities. It's that feeling, how you feel, what can you do, what you cannot do, how you see yourself, that is what confidence is all about. And I want to just talk about how do you grow that? How do you grow that feeling of belief, that feeling that, what will make you do better, feel better, see things better? How do you grow things like that? And if we're going to go into a step-by-step approach, I start off by just talking about writing things down. I said this in the last episode about staying focused on your vision, and the tools, one of the tools that I put in there was just making a note of things and ticking them off almost. With growing your confidence is pretty much the same thing. Write down the things that you absolutely do not like about yourself and be open and honest about it. Be candid. I don't like this about myself. I don't like my attitude. I don't like where I'm at in life. I don't like how I look. And you just be detailed about yourself. You're giving yourself some level of therapy. You're writing it down. You're being open. You're putting it out in the open, and you're just being honest about what is affecting your abilities, what's affecting your mood, what's affecting that feeling that is inside of you. And confidence can be extrinsic, because you can have somebody say, I have confidence in that person. I have confidence in Sharika. I have confidence in John, because I know they're capable of doing the things that I put the confidence that I believe they can, or that they say they can. So confidence, if you want to be able to start growing your confidence, you first need to know the things that are affecting your confidence. So what are affecting them? And it's not just the negative things of what's affecting it, it's also the positive things. So write down all of the negative things that you believe are affecting your confidence: your appearance, where you are in life, your grades, your studying, your job, your partner, the fact that you don't have a partner or a relationship, or all those things. Write it down, and then you should start thinking about the things that you believe you can change and the things that you believe are not able to change. So you have to make sure you have a positive side to your confidence and the negative things that are affecting your confidence. And then next to it, write down what you believe you can change about these things. And that is your first step. That is your most basic step. A therapist will charge you to tell you these steps and the ways about going to tackle them. So you write down the positive and the negative. So when you write down all your negatives, make sure you put, and I said this earlier, I'm going to say it again, because with these podcasts, we sometimes dip in and out of listening, and that's cool. That's fine. I listen to podcasts, do it too. So you write down I can change this about myself, or I can't change this about myself. I can, I can't, can't. You write them down that way. And with the positive things about yourself, you you kind of have to then reflect on how that makes you feel. So every time you dip into your negative stuff and you see your list, you always have to balance it with the positive stuff. So that is your step one. And those are your confidence to help with your mood and your feeling. And it is a difficult task to do. It sounds very black and white, very simple, but a lot of the times we're not honest about the things that truly affect our confidence. If you write it down and you burn the paper, no one else will know, but you'll put it out there and you'll be more self-aware. And one of the things is that we're not honest sometimes about what truly bothers us, or sometimes we're too brutal with ourselves. We're sometimes too brutal. We are too hard on ourselves. Sometimes we're our own biggest critic, and we tend to give ourselves some unrealistic goals and unrealistic, measurements for ourselves, and there's no such thing really as an unrealistic goal, maybe, but we give ourselves sometimes very difficult measures for ourselves. So writing it down, the positive, or saying it to yourself, the positives, and saying it to yourself, the negatives, that will help you to be more aware of what it is that's truly bothering you. So that's your first two steps. Your next step is to so the first step is to write it down. The second step is to say which ones you can change, which ones you cannot change. So that's your step 1 and 2. And then your third step is to take action on the things that you can change. So the things that you can change, start to action it. Start to do something about it. Start to look at how you can approach changing these things, because you've written it down. You can change it. You said it yourself that these are the things that you can change. So go ahead and start making changes towards it. And you'll find that as you make changes and you tick those off your box, you'll feel better. And if you find that you're not feeling better from those changes, then you no longer take that on board, because maybe in fact that was not affecting your confidence as much as you thought it was, or maybe changing it is having more of a negative impact on that feeling, on your capabilities. And an example of this is sometimes we think, okay, to boost my confidence, I'm going to take on this course. And you take the course on and you realize that it's maybe not for you. So that can have a negative impact, because you start to feel as if you're not smart enough. You might feel as if you're not capable of taking on this course, and you start to question, why am I not getting it? Why is everybody getting it? Why is this not making me feel good as I wanted it to make me feel? Then you put a pause on that approach and you try and approach another part on your list, and then come back to that a bit later, because the idea of growing your confidence is to make sure you're tackling things that have a positive impact to how you feel, because how you feel will then show in your whole entire attitude. It will show towards your approach, and that will help to make a positive change. So that's one of the things. That's some of your steps that I would definitely advise. And trust me, like I said, you will pay tons to speak to somebody, and this is what they would advise you to do. As you know, with the podcast, I like to share a quick quote. Usually I do this before the show starts or after the show ends, but I'm just going to drop it in the middle of the podcast for today, for this episode. And this quote is from Marianne Williamson, and it simply says, we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? And actually, who are we not to be? So it's basically just suggesting, like, most times when you say to yourself, I want to be brilliant, I want to be talented, you are able to do it. You have the power to be the things that you want to be. And that quote is from Marianne Williamson. And I really hope that it resonated with you within this podcast and how you go about helping to achieve growing your confidence. Now, guys, with this podcast, we're trying to aim to get better and better at recording. So do let us know if we could make any further improvements on the sound, on the mixing, and anything like that, guys. We would love to hear your constructive and honest feedback. Now get straight back into step-by-step approach to growing your confidence. So you write these down, you write the positive, you write the negative, and then you write which ones you can change and which ones are very difficult to change. And then you almost measure the ones that are on the higher end of the spectrum to change and at the lower end of the spectrum. And just like if you have to pay off a massive debt or anything like that, you start off with the things that are a little bit easier to tick off, and that will then encourage you to keep going, because if you tackle the most difficult one, it could wear you out and then you won't get to the smaller ones, and there's probably more of the smaller ones and fewer of the bigger ones. So it's best to then rank them in sense of which one means the most to you, or which one is something that you can do at a quicker speed or at a better speed, and then approach them. So start off by making them in priority ranks and then tackle them. It's really not something that cannot be done, and lots of people have done this. And if you're that type of learner who needs to write things down and see it visually, this will most definitely help you. And if you find it difficult to write it down, just think about it. Just think, what are the things that truly bother me? And it's just a reflective process when you really dive deep into being honest and open about who you are and what it is that truly, brings you down or not allow you to feel your best. Now, I wanted to expand on this topic, but the more I went into it in my research, the more I realized that confidence is really very personal, and it's a topic that needs like a part 1, part 2, part 3. So I will dive into this later on in our episodes or in future episodes, and I'll have guest speakers to help discuss more about confidence issues, because it's something that always comes up. And growing your confidence is one of the most important things that you need to do as you tackle the world, as you tackle this world that we live in. And it's for anyone at any age. Your confidence can be affected at any point in life. And believe you me, I've had my confidence knocked a few times, and I've had to learn to build it back, grow it, and sustain it. So you can have your confidence be attacked at any point in life, no matter who you are. It's not just it's happening to you. It's not just happening to them. It happens to most people at different stages in life, and it happens. So I hope that gives some level of reassurance. In the next episode, guys, just quickly, I wanted to talk about starting a business or applying for a job. Which one is the best thing, especially in this climate, and based on some of my research that I've done over the past couple of years, what are my thoughts on starting a business or applying for a job? And this topic came about because I was pretty much asked this, what's the best thing to do? Should I start a business? Should I get a job, especially in this climate? So episode 4 will be about that, and episode 5 is about going to university and what I should know, part 1. But I'm going to keep this podcast very short because the things that I wanted to touch on growing your confidence really dives deeper, and I will get a guest speaker to come on and expand on some of this more. But I hope these tools that I've given you so far will get you to the first stages. So when we dive into it, you know who and what you're looking at within your own self and how you can tackle these. And being open and honest about yourself is one of the key things in life with anything. Always have a moment to yourself where you reflect upon the things that matter to you, the things that you didn't do too well, the things that bother you, and the things that you could have changed and what you could have done to change it. And those help to build your confidence. Those help you to have perceptive. Guys, if I said it wrong, hit me up in the comments and teach me how to kind of break my words up in syllables. But definitely will have some perspective on who you are as a human being. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I am going to end this here. Thank you for tuning in to episode 3. It's one of our shorter episodes. I usually like to go in over 30 minutes, but this has been a few takes actually, and we've done a lot of cutting out of what it is, because some of the word confidence, it is somewhat controversial, because what can make you confident could be somebody else's biggest insecurity. And especially if we dive into physical sides, especially if we dive into, tangible, what things that you own, it's like what can make you happy could most definitely not mean anything to somebody else. So definitely write down the things that you like about you, the things you don't like about you. What are the things you can change? What are the steps you could take and the things you cannot change? And what priority listing are these? Which stuff would you change instantly if you could? What are the things that you could change now if you could? And then list them in your rankings. Once you've listed them in your rankings, you then start to approach the things you can change. The things you can change. And you can change them because you wrote that down. You said within yourself you can change them. So the things you can change, you start to change. You start to change them. And then you start by changing the smaller, easier or ones. And I know I did say put them in priority, so you can choose. It's best to always go for the easier, the less time consuming ones that you can change, and then tackle the bigger things. But if you work the opposite way, by all means go ahead and do so. But those would be your step-by-step approach to helping you grow your confidence. And always do daily affirmations, telling yourself that you are good, you are great, and you can achieve all things. And one of the quotes that you can use to be a part of your daily affirmation is one I shared with you earlier by Marianne Williamson, which says, we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant and gorgeous and talented and fabulous? And actually, who are you not to be? So if you do some daily affirmations whilst you're going through your change process, that most definitely helps you to grow your confidence. Be around people that are encouraging, that helps you to grow your confidence. But it does start internally. It's not really the best decision to rely upon the people around you to grow your confidence. It starts from the work you do inside, and the work you do inside is acknowledging the things that truly affects your confidence and the things that affects your confidence positively and negatively. And once you have a grasp on these and you are honest with these, no one can use them as weapons because you already know what they are. And you can use them as weapons to empower you. Empower yourself because you know what your strengths and your weaknesses are. And you can take those on board. It's not a secret. And that's why whenever you do this tool of writing down what it is that truly affect your confidence, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. So even if it's something as, I don't like my toes, I don't like my eyes, I don't like my ears, whatever, be brutally honest. I don't like the sound of my voice. Go ahead, put it down. That means if anyone else mentions it to you, you are aware, and it's not a secret. It's nothing that's going to bother you. You know what it is. It doesn't bother you now. And if you really feel that this is something hard, you burn the paper or you get rid of it. You make sure it's out of the system. And then you can move on with addressing how you make changes to the things that you can change, because you believe you can change them. So I definitely hope that you found this useful. I definitely hope that it helps you. Most of the tools that I put here is tools that I've used, tried, tested, and it worked. And I've been in the darkest of the pits where there's darker pits than the pits that I've been in, but they're dark enough for me. And I've been able to maneuver my way into what you see now, which is somebody who can then give advice or encourage somebody else to see if this works for you. And the word, just see if it works for you. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, at least you tried. At least you made an effort to see if something would work for you. At least you're here trying to figure out how you can make yourself better. So you are making steps because you've sat through a podcast with the topic of growing your confidence to see how you can better yourself. And if you have used this system before of writing the positive, the negatives, what you can change, what you cannot change, and then ranking them, and you find that it never worked for you, you're still on the good side of things, if I would say the good side, but I just can't think of the word, because you're making steps. And anyone who's making steps is actively growing their confidence, is to be applauded, because it really does take time. And what works for somebody else might not necessarily work for everybody, but the fact that you are making a difference or listening to different ways and applying different approaches, or just even thinking about applying different approaches, shows that you're serious about growing your confidence and who you want to be seen as in the world. So I really do congratulate you for doing that, and I feel as if you can take these steps, you're on the right track for yourself. So just want to end the podcast by saying thank you so much for listening. We do hope to do better, and I love coming on here on the mic, sharing what I know, and putting it out there to help somebody else. So thank you guys for listening, and I will see you in next episode 4 and 5. Should I start a business or apply for a job? And episode 5, going to university, what I should know, part 1. And as mentioned before, we will be having some guests on board and expanding on some of the topics in our first 5 episodes, because these topics are still to be expanding on, and having new topics, of course. So these are the pilot episodes, and I really hope you're enjoying them. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for listening to the end. We're coming up to the end, guys. And thank you guys. I hope you have an amazing, amazing day wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for listening. It means so much to me. We are on all the streaming platforms. So thank you. You're here. You know where we are because you're here. So thank you for listening. Take care. Mwah.